The Spartans are known for their rugged warrior ways. Descendants of Hercules, the Spartans were the perfect warriors. They lived by war, and it was as warriors that they made history. Sparta valued strength, so there were no weak warriors among them. What was life like for the elderly, who were already too weak to fight? What kind of future awaited the Spartan elders? We'll find out today. The ancient Greek writer and military leader Xenophontes wondered how Sparta, a sparsely populated state, could be so powerful. In Greece, Sparta's power and popularity was off the charts. The reason for Sparta's success was its competent state structure, Xenophontes concluded. From the age of 7 to 20, boys were put into military boarding schools. It was thought that they needed to leave their families as they belonged to the state, and public schools were a distinctive feature of Sparta. All this time they were training, hardening themselves, honing their skills, both personal combat skills and military tactics. They were also trained in rhetoric, but in a specific way. The task was to express their thoughts clearly and concisely. The task was not to create a mass of soldiers obedient cannon fodder, but to really plan and create a society of people useful to society. Sometimes the mentors provoked the boys to fight on purpose, to see who was strong and agile, and who was wise and a good organizer. It was important for them to understand how the boys would prove themselves in real conditions, and then they were distributed according to their inclinations, who was a soldier and who was an officer. Many Spartans were good athletes. They regularly traveled to the Olympic Games and brought back trophies. A small part of them went on to become officials and administrators. I must pay tribute, the state machine functioned perfectly. There were few officials, by the way, and only philosophers were taken there. That is, people who were not only wise, but also able to look at the surrounding objectively and unselfishly. The attitude to marriage and family was utilitarian. Everything was subordinated to the interests of the state. As it was said earlier, children were the property of the state. But this also applied to the wife and husband. If the husband became decrepit or disabled, and the wife was still in the prime of life, he had to give up his spouse to another man. Most of the young were brought up as soldiers, retired from service in Sparta at 60. You think that's inhumane? On the one hand, a man really spent his whole life on war and defense of his fatherland. On the other hand, the state provided for them completely. And, most importantly, imagine what excellent health the Spartans had if they retired only at 60, and before that, they fought skillfully and successfully on the battlefield. And there were many such retirees. Each soldier was given a plot of land on retirement, but many of them still volunteered for service, or worked for the local police. The Council of Elders, the Gerousia, governed Sparta and included 28 people, and all of them were over 60 years old. The tasks of the council were to pass laws and act as jurors in court. The main body in the system of power was the College of Ephors. It was 5 people who were elected for a year. Ephors could make a decision and depose the king. Ephors were honored as wise men. Many of them were active philosophers and wrote philosophical works. So there were 4 standard paths for the elderly. After 60, they became farmers, policemen, elders in Gerousia, or were placed in the top 5 Ephors. If you liked the video, then don't forget to put a like and subscribe to the channel. There will be a lot of interesting, shocking, and exciting things ahead.